Start recording. Good afternoon, Talk Badminton. Nice to see you. It's a lovely sunny afternoon in Peebles. Today, for the first time, we go live to Rebus Kinnaird, who is somewhere in Scotland. I'll find out in a little minute all about where he is. First of all, I just wanted to give you a brief intro to Twitch. Twitch, for most people that know, if you've got teenage children, if you ask them about Twitch, they'll tell you all about it. So basically, if you now are created an account, because I can seamlessly, basically a single button, and whatever I'm recording and having conversation with my guests can just hit a button and it will stream to Twitch. So I've created an account called twitch.tv. You could just go on the web and type for twitch.tv and quite simply, and / badminton, Talk Badminton, I'm sorry. And it will take you onto any live stream that's been posted. Even when it's not live, you can type comments and questions for anybody that you know might be coming up. I've obviously got Rebus just now. I've got Gary Stango at 5, although I might be running a little bit late. Apologies, Gary. And then move on to Holly Newell tomorrow, which should be an interesting one. She's been promising to come on for some time. So that'll be an interesting one to come. So let's jump straight over and meet Rebus. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. I'm very good. You do realise it's actually Barry. It's a bit like Indiana Jones. He was called after the dog. I just took Rebus as my alias.
Oh, sorry, it's Barry. Yeah. You can't do that to me. You really?
Yeah. That's. I just did that on
Facebook.
Did
you do it a long time ago?
No. I think I changed it about a year ago.
Why did you choose Rebus?
It sounds better.
I've got a pal in Edinburgh called Amos Newton who does the same, and it's normally, to be honest, it's normally a teacher's thing. Teachers do it a lot. They always use aliases, and are you a teacher? No.
No. I'm an engineer.
So it's it's an interesting one, but you must. I suppose the interesting thing about today, I think, is I love this situation where I've never met you, I've never spoken to you, and I don't know you at all, and I just love that, to be honest with you. My fascination with meeting people is really good. So where are you from, Barry?
I am originally Kinross.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm from a farm round the side of Loch Leven, and I lived there till I was 18, went to university, then after university moved up to Aberdeen for a while, and then got married, and I've been in Bo'ness for the last 21, 22 years, something like that.
Did you play in Kinross?
I did, yeah. We started off way back, probably when I was about 7, and it was the Portmoak, the local parish hall. We used to go and play up, and those were the days when the back lines, you'd play in a hall, and it wasn't the full length, and so the back line was actually halfway up the wall on one side, and then you had the stage.
I've seen it close, but I've never seen it on the wall.
Yeah, it was about a foot up the wall, and we also had the infamous radiator shot. So if you could judge it right, you got the ferret, the shuttle to come right down the back and land in the radiator, and there was many a broken racket, particularly from when it was. You were playing matches against someone from another hall or somewhere else, where they go back and clatter. It was off the back of the wall.
Are you telling me the shuttle could land, hit the wall, and be in?
Well, in theory, yeah, because the line was up the back. It never did. But to be honest, you could hardly lift in those days as well, because it was probably only around about, I don't know, maybe 20 feet high or something like that. So, it was your old village hall. Wasn't built for badminton.
Classic.
So that was a learning experience.
It's one of those places, though, don't you think, where there's little... I grew up in a place called Belford, Northumberland. It's a very tiny little village, and there's not much to do. And you either go bad, or you just kind of... you either go to the pub or just hang about in the streets, or you go and play badminton. And, these village halls, I think you had better access to the facilities. You could just get the key, because there's nobody else wanting to use it. And you would just say, can I get the key? And you say, okay, Wednesday, Tuesday, whenever.
Well, I think we ended up, I got into it because my mum and dad, but I'm sure it was basically you kept playing till you'd had enough. So you could be there till 12 o'clock at night, 1 in the morning. Everything. And in those days, obviously, I mentioned feathers. We were very lucky if we ever got a feather. So it was always plastic. And you know what happened when anyone hit a plastic shuttle in those days? They just folded, and
I know.
it was horrendous. But that was a learning experience.
Play,
no, I kind of stopped playing when I was 21.
Did you?
So I grew up with Bruce, Gordon, Jill, Davey, Craig, all these guys, Alan, who you had on the other week. But I started playing when I was about probably 6 or 7, and there's a story behind that one. And I stopped when I was really after I finished university, and I moved up to Aberdeen. I had glandular fever, and that kind of really finished me from playing serious. I did come back and try to play again once or twice, but just at a
club level,
not a high level, just club level. But to be honest, I think if someone else said it, playing club level when you've played, a higher standard, it's hard because you want to play the best you can sometimes. And actually, when I did come back one time, and I can mention that later on, that's when I had my little accident.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll come to that. Okay, let's do it. We'll get on with these questions, and then it'll all come to fruition, I think, to be honest with you. Can you hear me okay? I can hear you okay. Good.
Yes.
So, first of all, your full name is Barry Kinnaird, is it?
Barry John Kinnaird.
John Kinnaird. And where's the John?
Actually, it's Barry John. I was named after. I was just asked my dad that the other night, after the rugby player.
Oh, really? So now you know. Well, you didn't know what it was.
Well, I kind of half guessed, but
that's nice to make you ask, right? That's good. And what age are you, Barry?
40. I think I'm the same as
50.
you.
I'm 50.
40.
Yeah,
you're 50.
50. I was 50 in December for my sins. So you've still got that to come. It's quite good. I quite like being 50.
The only thing is, it's the aches and pains.
I
understand that more now when you're young and you're 15, 16 and you're running about like a dafty, and everyone says you'll regret that later, and you go, oh yeah, sure. And now you get off the floor and you're suddenly making this and you're like, what am I doing that for? You're making these weird noises.
I just find
every time you get
up. I think as I got to my late 40s, I think I started to become ill-knitted, and kind of I thought, God, is this it? Is this my life? Is this what I've got? Is this it? Is this? Do I really want to be doing this? Whatever it is, you want something else, right? Midlife crisis, big time. It's is that it? Is that it? And then something happens when you hit 50. You go, that's it. All of a sudden, you can quite relax.
Yeah.
And do you do any sport now?
Well, yeah, I'm big into my mountain biking. So, Peebles, I was watching you were obviously at up Gypsy Glen yesterday.
This morning. 11. I was there yesterday. I was there yesterday, and I did a 10k run up the top this morning to Kirkup Laura it's called, which is 5k from the house. Yeah.
So we sometimes start from we'll start down at the car park, head along, go up, maybe do inner leaving, and then come back over Gypsy, up round the back way and up over to Gypsy Glen, even by Douglas Water and everything, and all up and over by the big mast and everything. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And where else do you go? I suppose you go Perthshire. There's quite a lot in Perthshire as well, isn't there?
To be honest, never really done a lot up there. We my dad stays round at near IKEA, so we're either in the Pentlands, and Pentlands are fantastic for it, or we're down Glentress or Inner Leaving. But I've done all we used to get into doing the enduro events, 100k plus sort of stuff events. So we've done that just for fun around done the Strath Puffer, everything. Yeah, wow. Just for fun. Well, not serious.
And so, and where are you from originally, Barry?
I said Kinross. So
that's where
side of the.
Paddy McHugh's from the Kinross as well. Paddy McHugh, the Scottish national. He was Martin Campbell's partner.
There was what age is he?
30 maybe.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of good guys came. So I'm 48, so 15 odd years after me, there was
have
a
a
lot
look
of
on have a look on the
players
chat.
came
Have a
out
look on the
Kinross.
channel. Paddy McHugh was on, and he's from Kinross, and he talked about growing up playing in Kinross, and looking to compete, and coming down to Dunfermline, and I think he was across at I think he might have been across at Andy Cook. I'm not entirely sure as well. But yeah, he was an exceptional player. Look at it, it's on YouTube. Paddy McHugh, good. Patrick McHugh, yeah. Brothers or sisters, Barry?
Got one brother, yeah.
What's his name, and did he play?
He's David. He played a bit as well, yeah. Not he kind of quit when he was probably around about 12 and got more into the golf. Yeah. He was a very big golfer, very good golfer, but yeah, he's down in Wales now, in Cardiff. So we actually grew up, because when we were living on a farm, our first badminton court was basically the cow shed.
Was it?
Yeah, so it was every now and then when it was down in the big shed, there was an area where they had the cattle, the cows, full of dung. Mm-hmm. Now, when that got cleaned out, we would go in and we would set up a string made from the twine of the wrapped the bales and put a string across, and then that was how we started playing. So you had to watch. It was a bit dodgy because there was a obligatory cow pat lying about on the ground and everything. And my dad was he was telling me the other night, and I was remembering these sort of things, that because you only had a single string, you could never tell if the shuttle was going above or below the net.
I know.
So the amount of fights and scraps and everything that happened, and you'd come up covered in stew and dirt. Even I think the rackets in those days, the strings were generally always burst, because if you lost, you were just hitting stones about and everything.
Especially in a cow shed. And so did you say your dad played as well? Did you say?
Yeah. My dad and my mum both played. Again, that was just
club level.
Just the general local club level.
Yeah. And was it them that took you along in the first place? Do you remember when you were very young? Did they take you along to having played in the cow shed? Did they take you to your first club, really? That
was then going from the cow shed up to the badminton hall with the lines up the wall,
which felt like a luxury, not to trip on cow pats.
And in between that, it was playing over the settee. That was a big one that we did as well. You had a settee that was L-shaped, and you were sort of just hit the badminton shuttle over the top.
And was he older than you, David?
Yeah, he was 2 years.
That's a good age difference. It gives you something to fight toward. Was he better than you when you first started playing?
Not really, because we were. Yeah. But it wasn't. I say he didn't sort of play. He didn't keep it going. He was more into the into the golf. It was funny. I think we held a record with at the Scottish primary or secondary schools. It must have been secondary schools, because me and David played the two bowmakers. Really? So David and his brother, right. Can't remember. He's probably watching this. David's probably watching it. But we played them it was the first time I think there'd been siblings, play each other in the Scottish schools.
Really? Wow. So what age were you then? You were, I guess, at 13
probably
or so?
About 13, 14, something like that, I would imagine.
Don't you think golf is quite a similar pursuit? Because it's the kind of thing where you commit. You're the kind of person that commits to something. It's not something where some people take hobbies just casual of interest and I quite like it. But some people get into something. If you understand what I mean, golf is one of them things that, I played a little bit of golf, and you're always striving for something in golf. And I think badminton's similar in that.
Well, I did play quite a bit of golf, particularly when I was at university, because all the guys in the flat played. So I shared with 5 guys, so we were always out on the golf course. But, I always had the rogue 1 or 2 holes. So you'd be going good, and then you get an 8 or 9, and it would just blow your whole round up. So that was, what do you call it, up round Edinburgh. It was all the council municipal courses. Braids, and you know what braids too. You know what it's like if you slice or hook, you're in the gorse bush.
I love it. I actually really like Braids.
A lot of blind folks.
I really like Braids, actually. It's a great golf course for 15 quid. Round of golf at Braids for 15 quid. I've got a friend who's a member of all of the council courses now, and I think they pay 50 quid a month for 6 months, and then 50 quid 50 quid for 6 months, then 25 quid for another 6 months. So in the summer months, he's 50, and then and he just says, I was chatting to him, I work with a guy, and he's just, it's great. He's got the run of the courses, go to any one of them. It's the three, I think there's three of them. He really likes Craig and Tinney, that's one of them as well.
Craig and Tinney, Silver
Yeah,
Nows.
it's great.
And is there another one? There is another one somewhere, I think. There's maybe 4.
I think it might be the one that's at Costofen on the back of the railway track. I think that might be a council
course.
That's
it. I think that one, yeah.
It's called. Sorry, just digressing a bit from golf, right? From badminton. What age when you first played? Very first played, do you remember?
I think it's probably around about 7. It was quite early, 7 or 8, 6, 7 or 8, something like that.
Was it just one of your mum and dad's rackets that you played with? And how
Yes.
often did they play? Was that a club once a week kind of thing? Do you remember?
No, I think the club was twice a week.
That's good.
It was either once or twice a week. And then obviously you had the big sports centres like Glenrothes and everything. We used to, that was where else we played, Glenrothes Sports Centre. I think that's been rebuilt now, the original one. And there was the Lomond Centre at Glenrothes as well. So you used to play a lot there when I was young.
And did you play in the leagues in Dunfermline and stuff back in the day as well?
Yes.
That's the nearest decent quality at the time, I suppose, right?
Yeah, it was. To be honest, it was Joe Young. It was Craig's dad that helped me a lot when I was young, and that was at Glenrothes. And I was playing with my dad one time, and he saw and invited us over. Me over and I used to play there a lot in some of the stuff, because Glenrothes obviously had its leagues and its teams and everything as well. And then I went up to Perth, did a lot in Perth with Brian Blythe, Gavin's dad, and that took it all up there, and you had Charlie and Sheila Nairn and all these people up there. And I also got involved with the Dunfermline ones, and that was through, there was Jill Gordon, Jill's granddad, I think, was involved in it. Russell was round there, the twins, Julian Carn. So, played a lot at Dunfermline and everything as well. And that's when the badminton league was huge. We started off, if you were young, you got a game in the fifth division.
Really?
So it just shows you how many teams there was. I mean, it's just anymore.
It's a shame. It's a crying shame. And Kinross, do you think it goes on like that in Kinross now? Is that struggling as well, or is that?
I've no idea about Kinross. My primary teacher, it was Miss McIntosh, I think it was. She again at that time, and I know some of the Craig and that mentioned it with the schools, that it was quite good that you got time off to go and play competitions with the schools. So there was a club in the sports centre at the old school, but goodness knows now if that's still going or not. I think Kirsty, Kirsty Flocker still does. I'm not sure, but I think Kirsty's still involved with stuff. Whether that's at Kinross or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a nice one. So where did you start playing? Do you think that was the influence of your parents that got you going in the first place?
Oh yeah, that was. I've always been very competitive. Anyone that knows me, I hate being second best. So when I get hooked at something, I want to be first. Don't like being second. Don't like being second to anything.
What did you jumping questions here? But what did you play? Were you singles or doubles or mixed, or what did you play?
I played everything, but to be honest, singles. Doubles was only if I got put at the singles, and mixed was if I got put at the doubles. Now I know that's bad to say for when you're looking back some of the doubles players you played with, but it was singles for me was everything.
Yeah, me too.
It was, to me, it's one of the best sports. And when I still watch it on television now, I'm not really interested in anything else. I just sit and watch the singles all day. I think it's fantastic sport.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same. Much I love watching singles. I think I remember thinking I was quite good. I remember thinking I was quite good in my own head, if you know what I mean. I thought I was amazing. I thought I was exceptional, and I probably wasn't. But I guess I drove myself on with that. But I love it. And I was never afraid of getting beat at all. I would just get beat to whatever. I didn't really care. If somebody beat me to 1, I would try and get 2 next time. Or if I got 2, then I wanted 3. It was just, and if I could win, then obviously that's ideal. But I was always it was always hard work. I was never. You get some players that are natural players with great movement. I was a hacker, I suppose you would say, at golf. I would make my way I learned footwork and did a lot of shadow badminton, and I was into my fitness and all that stuff as well. So I was okay, but I just definitely wasn't. I didn't have finesse. Put it that way.
Well, I think with me it was natural ability, and when you're young, natural ability takes you so far, and then you realise that natural ability has its limits.
Yeah.
So you get to a point where, for example, when I grew up playing with Bruce and everything, and when we were young, I was always better than Bruce.
Really?
But at one point in time, it was like a light switch turning for Bruce, and where I plateaued, Bruce just suddenly went woof.
Yeah.
So
Do you know that was all that was the competition he was playing against when he wasn't with you?
that was probably the amount of work he did with his dad at that time.
Yeah.
We did drop net lob, drop net lob, drop
Yeah,
net
yeah,
lob
drop net
clear,
lob, yeah,
and we
yeah.
did that and did that and did
Right.
that, and I was going other places as well. But for him, it just came at one point, and it
Yeah.
just clicked. You could see it, and he just left me for dead, basically.
Yeah, but if you look,
And
if you went back, if you spoke to Bruce and you asked him, if you spoke to Bruce now and you asked him the question of what happened, there will be a reason for that. There will be something that will have happened. He would have started training with somebody. He would have started playing against somebody. Something will have happened to make that happen.
well, if I'm looking back now, and I would say that I thought I was always fit. I suffered from cramp a lot when I was young, when I was playing. But looking back, I now realise I wasn't as fit as I thought I was. And you look at the players these days, you sit and think, these guys are probably doing 2-3 times the amount of training that we did back then. So yeah, if I had to do it again, I would put a lot more in than I did at the time. And I thought
More physical in.
I thought I was putting, yeah, I thought I was physically fit then, but no, not really. No, you look at them now, and it's a different game, isn't it?
Who coached you, Barry?
I had a load of coaches from, going from, as I say, Craig's dad, Joe Young, to Gavin Blythe, to Tom Courtney, to Sheila Nairn. There was John Williamson, Alan Thompson. I mean, loads and loads of people. And I was thinking the other day, you don't really appreciate at the time how much. And Addy, Bruce's dad, obviously, sorry, I forgot to add that. You forget how much time and effort they actually put in, because behind every badminton player, there's probably about 10 coaches or more that have helped them through their career. And it's all sort of horrible hours, isn't it, for these guys? It's either before work, it's after work, it's at the weekends. A lot of people, and I would just say thank you to them all, because I had a great time, even though I quit when I was 21, really stopped when I was 21. There's a lot of people helped you to get where you were, and to win anything was fantastic.
What about Andy Cook? Why was he in the periphery? What happened then? Because obviously
I never actually worked with Andy.
No.
I mean, I've known Andy for years and years and everything, but no, I never really went to Grangemouth as such. I was more I was either Dunfermline with Bruce and Bruce's dad and Tom Courtney, or it would be Perth with Sheila Nairn. And the Perth, because you got to remember, when I was growing up, you had Gavin, there was Fraser McDonald, there was Anthony, there was Charlie, Aileen. Whoops, forgot Aileen there. There was loads. So the Perth scene was massive as well. And then you had obviously sort of Dunfermline as well. You had Gordon and Jill, and so there was. I never actually went over to. It's strange, but I don't think I was ever coached once, probably by Andy.
Really. Well, he was. I mean, when you watch, if you look back at the interviews, he was very strict on the fitness side. If you look at Jim Mailer, he talks about the fitness and how much he would go to badminton coaching sessions and he wouldn't play any badminton. They'd go running on the track. It's absolutely, incredible fitness. The determination, and I think that is the thing. When you watch it on YouTube and you watch it on TV now, and I know it's a culture of kids to go to the gym all the time, but they really work out hard. They just, my God, they put hours in. Question here's come in from Gary. How many hours of shadow badminton did you do at Meadowbank before winning the under-21 national? Hundreds of hours, I'm guessing. Good one, Gary.
Yeah.
That sounds
I think
good. Yeah.
I think that to be honest, I think that was the last thing I ever won. I
Was
won
it?
under 21 nationals, and
That's
I think that
amazing.
that was it. I won everything all the way through. But as I said, I had a lucky birthday, which was great, so I could always play that. A year down. I think that's all changed now, and I also obviously was able to play with it with Craig and Graham Rankin and Bruce and all these guys
Yeah.
up one as well. But it always helped to have the lucky birthday because it did give you a bit of an advantage.
Lucky birthday. Is there a date range? So you were particularly old for the year. You were you were
September,
the top of the age.
September. I was September the 10th. It's my birthday, and I think it was it 1st of September because Davy Gilmore. I'm sure Davy sneaked in as well
Did he?
from the year above. Yeah, that's right. He
Fantastic.
sneaked in.
Good. Uh, your first racket.
I think it might.
I'm not
It
talking
was
about one. I'm not talking about one that you borrowed. I'm talking about first
no, it'd have
racket
been
that you thought, oh, I've
it's
got my
something
own.
like I think I inherited something like a 3.7X,
X,
the one that
yes.
had the
Flat thing.
flattened shaft.
But yeah, you got to use that. Do you remember your first racket when you first chose your racket and you got to choose it in a
I
shop or kind of thing? Do you remember
I
that,
do
or
you
did
know
that happen?
I actually think the first one I ever got, and I thought this was expensive. My mum and dad bought me. I think it was a Carlton Classic.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
The one that Morton Frost, because I was
Oh,
always a
the
big Morton
Boron
Frost fan.
Classic.
Was it the Boron
Oh,
Classic?
what?
Yeah.
What, the single piece
Some,
construction? That was a
no,
great
no, it
one.
was the one before that
Was it?
because it had such a soft head because every time you hit the ground, and I was always diving in these days or
Mhm.
that, it would go like a pancake. It would just fold over. So you were playing with this thing that was pointing down the way. So every time afterwards you're trying to smash, it was just
Oh, I
the
see.
shuttle
Because
would just go everywhere.
it bent on the tee. The
It bent,
tee
yeah.
had actually bent on the tee. I know
It
exactly.
just it just bent right over. It was yeah, it was made of very soft
I
aluminium.
fantasized about a Boron Classic. Remember, it was
No, I
brown.
had the Boron Classic
Did
at
you?
one
It
point
was
as well.
brown with
Yeah,
gold. In fact, I was in a charity shop the other month and I saw it and I thought, oh God, it was great. I just loved that at the time. But it was
because we had a lot of things like the mid. Was it the mid one which had the really small head?
I
There was
can't
all
remember that.
different Carlton rackets out at that time.
No, I don't,
Mid head, I think it was called.
I don't remember that. How are we doing for time? 4:36. We're doing good. So like 4:36. Look at that. The clock in the corner is right and everything. That's the interesting and not recording on YouTube is that
Oh
people are
yes, yeah,
actually
yeah.
seeing it as it actually happens. What was the name of the first club you went to?
That would be Portmoak Badminton Club, I think.
What did you say? Port what?
Portmoak,
Moke.
Portmoak, Portmoak.
And that's Kinross.
It's just next to. Do you know where Kinneswood is? Between
No.
Kinneswood and Scotland Well.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
I
it's
know where
just a wee hall in between there.
Yeah. Cool. It's a beautiful area, isn't it? Do you remember the first shuttles? I think you told me that the plastics.
There were some plastic bit of rubbish.
And how often did you play, Barry? When you were
Um,
going, like when did you start? Well, obviously you started going to play, and when did you thought I loved it and kind of started playing more?
I probably played maybe 3 times a week or something like that. When I was young, and you'd be hitting every other night. You'd just be hitting over the sofa or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Or in
in
the
terms of
cowshed.
actually, yeah, in the cowshed. I also used to do a lot of running because that's how I got fit. Was I used to go out running, and in those days round Kinross, the roads were really quiet, so you could go out for an 8 mile run. I was like
Yeah.
probably 12 years old, and I was running home from school, which was 4 or 5 miles, or go out for an 8 mile run. But you were safe on the roads
And
in
was
those
that
days,
a
running
conscious
alongside
thing
the roads.
about badminton, Barry? Was it a conscious
Yes,
thing to make your badminton better? Is that what it was?
yes, it was all to get fit
Wow,
in those days.
wow.
Everything was about getting fit in badminton. I wasn't interested in anything else in
And did
those days.
anybody push you
I'd
to be
never.
like that, or was it just in you?
No, I think it was just something I loved. I never got into the drinking scene because I lived out the farm. You didn't really see your if you wanted to go into Kinross, it was like a 6 mile cycle into Kinross. So during the week and that, I never really saw my friends. And when you started playing the badminton, every weekend was you were away playing a tournament or you were training or something. So um, Yeah, I was a lonely child.
Yeah, no, it's good though. It's a great thing, isn't
No, I
it?
wasn't really.
You'd wish that on your own kids, you'd wish it all day long. And do you have kids now
Yeah.
yourself, and do they play?
Yeah, I've got a daughter. Yeah, she's just turned 18.
Did she play?
No, no interest.
Funny, isn't it? Not even in the cow shed.
No,
Not even in the cow shed.
yeah, you slipped up there. Yeah, no, she's never. So we stay in Bo'ness,
Right.
in there, but she's never really been into never. She used to swim when she was young,
Oh.
And then she hated the obviously the getting up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning to go to swimming, and so that all got kiboshed.
Yeah. And so your first, obviously you've answered that you're a coach. Who was your first coach?
Oh,
Who was the first? I suppose what the question, the reason why I asked that question is, who is that? Was there somebody particularly that you thought was a coach that made you love the sport at a very young age?
If it was right young, it was yeah, probably could have been as much as it was either Gavin's dad probably or Craig's dad,
Really?
Joe Young or Brian Blythe probably, because that was at the age where I really started to, think I wanted, want to keep doing this.
Yeah, and Joe, I think I think they seem to have a love of the sport. That's what starts a young child playing. Is that person that loves the sport, isn't it? That's what gets you into it. Your first ever tournament and trophy.
Midlothian under 12s, I think. No, what was it? It was a Mayfield. What is it? Is it Mayfield? That's outside Edinburgh.
Yes, Dalkeith.
Mayfield, yeah. That's
where Brian Thompson's from. Do you know him? Do you know Brian Thompson?
I recognise the name.
Yeah, he's from Dalkeith. I interviewed him. He's from Dalkeith, and similar age to yourself, probably maybe a wee bit older. But he was, it was quite big. Midlothian was quite popular with badminton. He didn't play any longer, but I hope he'll come back. So your most successful event you said was singles you preferred, and doubles. Did you have a doubles partner? Because you stopped at 21? Was that because you couldn't play singles any longer? Or did you?
No, that was I think when I finished university, and then I moved up to Aberdeen to go into the oil industry with work.
Yes.
And I said I had glandular fever or something just about that point, and it just you've got to stop. You're not allowed to obviously do any training. You're not allowed to do anything, and then we're working up in Aberdeen, and that there wasn't really the badminton scene up there, so I just kind of got out of it, and then I got probably more into golf at that point.
Yeah, you said
in my life, and just kind of lost contact with a lot of them in the badminton for quite a number of years, I would say.
And you have inclination to come back now, then? Do you think?
I couldn't, since I did my ankles. I just up here won't let me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think there's got to be a point, Barry, where you've got to realise, right, that you're not 21 anymore, right? And you've just got to say, I'm not 21 anymore. And you either say, do you know what, I'm never going to play ever again, or you just rewind a little bit and get into doubles, loving doubles.
It's not that I don't want to. I would love to be able to, but apart from my ankles, my knees are really sore these days as well. If I tried to go running there about 2 months ago, and I literally got half a mile, and then they started hurting. Yeah. And by the time I'd done 3 miles and got back, that was it. I just, stop. I'm not going to try again. But it's just the injuries that have my ankles. That's why I've got this fear of doing anything explosive now.
Really?
So although the body says and I sit and watch it, and I would love to do it, the mind won't let me do anything, even jumping down off a bed or anything.
They just feel weak.
It's not they're weak. It's because of what happened to me. I just, the mind just says, no, you can't do that again. You won't go through that again.
Because you don't look like you're not big or anything.
No, I'm in relatively quite good shape now. It's all biking.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
So the biking.
That's good, yeah, of course it is.
No, it's not. So I've done the biking now for it's 20 years.
Right.
And I'll go out on the bike every night if I can.
Yeah, I get that. It's good for weight loss for sure. Keep the weight off for definite. I like it. I went to Glentress once and I fell off, and I think I nearly broke my cheek, and I remember getting off my bike and walking the bike back with a quivering lip. And I was about 40 at the time. I just remember falling off the bike, and they have those bridges with chicken wire on them. And I went around one of these things, and I turned. I thought I was getting more and more confident. I started off thinking, oh, brakes, and then eventually people are flying past you at 100 mile an hour, and I'm thinking, oh, come on.
Well, can I say that the Borders General is very good, by the way?
No, they hate.
We've been down there a few times, and they can actually tell you where you came off just about Cadden Bank, third loop down, third corner. Yep, that looks like that one. Broken collarbone. Yep.
No, that's why.
That wasn't me, by the way. Just to clarify, that wasn't me.
I'm told that they know. Yeah, they don't. They're not popular. It's not popular. I don't think. Have you heard? There's a new mountain bike thing they're doing in Leithen. They've just got funding, £18 million funding for Leithen for the Golfie.
Oh, the golf is good fun.
Well, they've just got £18 million of funding for a new club to build a golf centre and to have a thing going up to the top of the hill and a lift and all that. Yeah,
oh, I didn't know that one.
It's just new. It's just out last week actually. So that's good. So who's your main competition growing up?
Well, it would be sort of like growing up. It would be Bruce and I say Craig, Davy Gilmore. That was sort of the main competition. I would say
you were all very close and getting through the finals of everything you went to.
We had great fun on trips away. So, less said about that, the better.
Did you all get on well?
Oh yeah. It was very good. We trained together. We went on all the trips together. All around Europe. Did the World Juniors out in Indonesia when we were 18. There was Bruce, myself, and we went out with the English team.
Did you?
And that's when Joanne Wright and John Quinn actually won the world mixed, which was fantastic. So we were all sitting there with the rest of the Europeans. So Camilla Martin, you've probably said Camilla before, she was there. There was Martin Lungert Hansen, who became one of the top world doubles players. He was there. It was great because all the Europeans just sort of supported all the other Europeans against everyone else. So it was fantastic experience. Was good.
Denmark as big then as it is now?
Oh yeah, they were bigger. In fact, they were huge. You had, I'm trying to think everyone that was out then. There was Thomas Stuart Lawrenson. They were the top guys. Denmark always have been. When I was young, it was always Denmark were miles better than everyone else.
It fascinates me that. It fascinates me what culture they've got that brings it on, and it just fascinates me how they fund it and how they continue to have. They've got thousands and thousands of clubs they have in Denmark, and a place with not that much of a population. It's incredible. So I can't really ask you about your current stage because you don't play at all. Where would you play if you could play? Where's the nearest place you would play? What would you if you thought I was going to try it? Where would you go? Do you know?
If I was, well, I've sometimes bumped into Andy down at Grangemouth, and Andy's always saying, "Oh, do you know what? Come back and play. Come back and play."
I think you should.
And do you know, it's quite a funny one because I said to him, because he obviously does different levels. And instead of starting with the younger ones, I says, what's your older ones? I'll start with the over 60s and 80s. I'll play with them first, then work my way back down. But unfortunately, I couldn't. And
how do you feel?
No, the fears.
How do you feel about coaching?
I have thought about that, and see, to be honest, I've got the greatest admiration for people that give up their time for doing it.
Yes.
But I'm probably too selfish in the fact that I like to do stuff myself, and it's everybody that Leslie's done it, and when you speak to like Leslie Jordan, everyone, and the guys are doing it after work at nights, and because obviously school kids have to do it there, and at weekends, and I know what it's like being in a dark hall, and it's a lot for anyone that does coaching, be it any sport. Is fantastic, giving up their time and that,
isn't it?
Maybe I'm a bit
there's nothing wrong with that
way. All the time I'd spent on me, and I just couldn't do it.
I know exactly how you feel, but I think probably I think probably the thing would be if you had a relationship with somebody, if you knew a son of one of your, a good friend of yours that had a singles player who, really could do with some tips or pointers, then that would give you an emotional connection probably to it. Where just a
Yeah.
random thing where just going to a whole bunch of kids after school probably doesn't float your boat. Probably if you had somebody, I mean, there's a young guy in the borders, Callum Smith, who's doing exceptionally well, and he's traveling a lot to do a lot of coaching, and I'm sure if there was somebody very local to them, you just think he lives in Duns, Greenlaw near Duns, and so it's a long travel every single day to get to Glasgow, or every other day to get to Glasgow for coaching and stuff. And I just think, certainly. I mean, you look at Bruce. Obviously, you've all had great experience, and you'd have the respect of anybody that was being coached by you. So I think if you had a chance, but
Well, probably all the young ones would never know who I am now.
yeah,
They might see my name
no,
on some
no,
of these old trophies, and that's it.
no. I think that's true of all of
You
them.
think, who's that old guy
I
there?
think that's true of everybody, but one thing that kids are good at is research, right? They'll be all over Google, they'll be all over that. They'll know, when somebody starts from wherever, if you've been coached wherever, the first thing a player will do is look at you, they'll Google you, and before you know it, they'll find everything about you, every competition you were ever in. It's the internet's a dangerous thing. So do you have a racket now?
I do. This is.
Wow, look at
Can you see
that.
this one?
What is that?
That is the my last one. This is the Wilson Pro Staff.
Wow.
So these are the last ones I ever played with. In fact, these are Bruce's old ones. So this is because I got his cast-offs after I stopped playing, and he was sponsored, so I used to get his old rackets. So that's probably 20, 25 years old.
Wow.
Something that one. In fact, the last time I even held this was when I snapped my Achilles. So the better said with that, away it goes.
Let's leave that. Tension and strain, family life and badminton is not relevant. Your favourite event now? Do you feel competitive? Okay, just let's finish with that question. What do you love about badminton? What do you think that drove you to badminton, and how do you think it differs from other sports?
To me, it's one of the most athletic sports. Certainly the singles. You see on television, you get all these other sports that get so much coverage, and yet badminton still gets very little.
I know.
It's good that you can go on the internet and YouTube and watch a lot of it now, but certainly over in GB, when I'm very much, I sit and if I watch a bit of tennis, I sit and watch, why is badminton not on?
Yes.
To me, it's a lot more skillful. It's a lot more endurance. It's more exciting. It's very explosive. It's everything to me in a sport. I can't be bothered watching football. I don't like seeing people diving about and everything.
No. Rugby's too much stop and start for me. Every time
I don't. I've enjoyed the Six Nations. Has been really good. It's been really good this year. The only thing I would say about the badminton is I hate all the shouting and all this. No, I prefer how it used to be. I love just one-on-one. In fact, anything that's one-on-one sports.
Carolina Marin screaming. Have you watched that?
No, I just switch off when she comes on.
No.
I can't put up with that.
I'm amazed that they get away with that. I just don't understand how.
Well, the guys I was watching the other day, and the guys seem to be starting doing all that as well. And I, as I say, we were brought up with like Morton Frost and that, and you never heard a peep.
No. And there's so much gameplay, isn't there? Stopping and starting and shoelaces and toweling down.
And even I mean, in those days there wasn't all the stop, but now even then it's even in the badminton you see it. It's so much, stop and start now. I don't like that. No. I wish that they didn't have all this time wasting between shots and everything. Just get on with it.
Yeah. Good. Right, that's great. Thank you very much, Barry, Rebus, Kinnaird. You'll need to give me a heads up next time. By the way, it's not Rebus. Yeah, okay.
No. Woof.
Thanks very much for your time. Right, I shall leave it there.
Thanks,
Thank you very much. That was great. I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers. Take care.